Hi, everybody. Matt here from Matt Likes Comics, and welcome to tonight's Sunday Superman show. I'm going to start by bringing my guests out who are absolutely waiting in the green room. So, our first guest coming out tonight will be Cliff on Comics. Cliff, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah? What you wearing
Long,
today?
long live the Legion.
Long live the Legion.
It's
Everybody
Timberwolf by Jim Lee.
Sorry, what?
It's Timberwolf by Jim Lee.
Nice. Son of Crom, thank you very much. We have Stephen Gentner, our old friend, who's here tonight.
Your old friend? What's that supposed to mean? What kind of a
It means
crack
that
is
you are
that?
one of the. I celebrated my and Stephen is wearing his new hat that somebody sent him this week.
It's amazing you could get one to fit my melon, I can tell you that.
Before we get further, I want to say thank you to Son of Crom because we've got to play a video. He has just gifted 5 memberships.
Beautiful.
So we shall say thank you.
Give me some money. Give me some money.
Still the only video.
Give me some money.
I'm looking for other money clips, but I haven't been able to find something of an interesting variety. So, Stephen, how was your day today?
My day was very good. Thank you very much. I basically was on church today. I think I saw you there.
Yes, I was watching on and off.
And I posted, I told everybody about your show tonight and about your show on Tuesday, too.
Appreciate it. This Tuesday coming, I believe I have you and Alan coming on to celebrate my 1-year anniversary.
Woo.
Which I can't believe it's already been a year. I was absolutely surprised that I've even lasted this long. Because
I'm not. You have a lot. You have a lot on the ball, and you got a lot of funny books. That's what I know.
Yeah, that is true. So before we get too much further here, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, and then I will read off my member list. First one to show up tonight. Hi, Robbie.
It's Robbie Josephs. Oh,
And we've got Bjorn, son of Crom.
Bjorn.
We've got Kay Munin.
Scoff.
And we have Michael, just Michael.
Just Michael.
Just Michael.
Just Michael.
And we've got Comic Mike. Hi, Comic Mike. And Comic Collector Coach is here.
Put me in, Coach.
I'm just going to read the memberships very quickly here. Is of course, we all know this is the board of the members rather than the members of the board. This is AG, Big Nasty Comics, Chonko Comics, Comic Collector Geek, Son of Crom, Cliff on Comics. I don't know if you knew Cliff, but someone had gifted you a membership.
I saw.
Yeah. Ryan Riley, Robbie
It's good
Joseph,
to be Cliff.
Brad Art and Comics, Ben Compton, Figure Drawing, Comic Mike, Collecto6, TM Nerdy, Comic Journey, Legion of Comics, Circumstances, Madam, and Kingdom of Nerds. Thank you all very much for being members. I posted a video earlier today just for the members, so if you have a chance to watch that, give it a watch. Now, before we get into our Legion books, in Superman news this week, yesterday, writer Peter David passed away. Peter wrote for Action Comics when Action Comics was a weekly from issues 603 to 620, as well as being the writer for the entire Supergirl Volume 4 series, all 80 issues.
Yep.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family tonight.
Had he been ill, or was this a sudden thing?
For me, it was sudden. I hadn't heard that he was ill, and I happened to see a clip about 2 hours ago, so I'm still looking for information.
I don't think we have all the details yet.
Yeah, but I just wanted to mention it because he is connected to the Superverse.
Well, he sure didn't look old enough to me for that to happen.
No,
Yeah,
but the few times I had met him, he always seemed just a little bit sickly.
Oh, is that so?
But I mean, like the older you get, the more likely that is to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
it's a drag.
didn't think too much of it. But you know, I've had a lot of interesting interactions with him. But yeah,
Thank you for the shirt, Big Nasty, by the way.
Yes, I've noticed a lot of people out there wearing big nasty shirts. Honestly, that should become a brand name because that actually sounds pretty cool. Did you get your big nasty shirt? It just sounds great. So
It does.
what we're going to do tonight, for all you lovely people who have taken time to join us tonight, we have pretty much an all Legion show. The three of us are probably three of the biggest Legion fans I know. All sorts of words. Ricky is another big Legion fan, but unfortunately he's not with us tonight. So I hope everybody out there is ready to become a member of the best team ever. Ever. I like them more than the Justice League. I'm sorry, but I'll stick to that. And I like them even more than the Suicide Squad or the Outsiders.
Way more than the Suicide Squad.
I mean, anybody you can think of, the Legion is just that much better because I've heard your stories, Stephen, about how the Legion meant a lot to you when you first started reading comics.
They
And
were
I
my
feel the same
first,
way.
the first I collected, and I started in 1960.
Hi, Rob. Yeah, so you were only a couple of years off that first appearance.
But no one even knew about it. No one even knew about 300. They hadn't seen it. The biggest book that anybody talked about, I told you that story too. The biggest book was Super Moby Dick of Space, was the one everybody wanted. And I
That's
can
right.
remember when I finally got a nice copy of that book, it rang a bell from a long ago.
Yeah. I was just so, as you guys probably know, I had a hard time getting that book. I honestly did a little happy dance when it was finally in my hands. It was like, yes, because I had read this story. I've got all the Legion stories in like collections. It's just to have the actual floppy was so happy. And when I got the Lone Wolf one to finish the adventure run, I was very ecstatic. I'm only 7 books away from finishing the 70s run, and then I've got every pre-crisis appearance, at least from Adventure 300 on. I'm starting to work on the ones from pre-300, as well as the Action Comics I'm working on. So hopefully I'll be able to do all that and then just be in a position where I need 247.
Well, 247 is a get at some time. It's either 247 or Action 252 for you. I would say that whichever one presents itself first. I'm sorry?
Sorry, Biggie just joined. I'm saying hi.
Hello, Biggie. Legionnaires.
So why don't we start with, we're going to do a couple rounds here where I'll start with Stephen and then move to Cliff and then myself.
Okay, sounds good to me.
All right. So Stephen, you have the floor.
I do, and I'm standing on it. I brought some of I have some up here of which you will know. I have some dupes. I just put these up.
Nice.
I will start with, I believe this is where Starboy starts.
That is the first appearance of Starboy. That is correct.
Thomas Kaylor.
Yes. I love the fact that they had that character come back and join the Justice Society in the 2000s. And it's the same guy.
Yep.
Here's my Superman 147 with the Legion of Super Villains.
Very nice.
Saturn Queen has a rather unpleasant look on her face.
She sure does. She has. She's definitely got the definition of resting bee face.
Oh my God! I was just gonna say, I feel like resting bee face is her whole generation.
That's true. Well, the hair fits it, doesn't it? Her hairdo.
The hair fits it.
You know, the hair fit, the style looks 40s, and that was in the 60s.
Now, several of my books, when I first started on eBay, I would buy a lot. Sometimes, every so often, there would be a bunch of books from one owner, and this is a very nice copy. I think first it's early Sunboy, I think.
No, that's Sunboy's first appearance.
It's not his first appearance; it's his origin.
Okay.
It says here, I still have the note from when I bought it. Thanks so much for your purchase. It has been a pleasure having. This was from '06. I got this. April of '06. Thank you so much for your purchase. It's been a pleasure having these beautiful books in my possession since my grandfather-in-law passed away. Even if for a short period of time, I hope that you too receive much pleasure from the book or books you've purchased from us. And I have thousands more to list, so check my listings daily, etc., etc. And so I bought. Her grandfather must have been a very, very good collector because he bought nice stuff. Now, I don't know what the Legion part of this is, but I have this in here too.
What's the book number?
This may be misfiled. It's issue number 90.
90. There's a Legion significance. That's the Pete Ross book.
Okay, Pete Ross, fair enough. I forgot I even had this.
This
But
is
this
where
is 90. But although
I think
this
that's
is
the one where he discovers that Superboy is Clark Kent.
oh, it is. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
since that's the reason he got into the Legion, for keeping that secret, that's actually a Legion book as far as I'm concerned.
And I actually had that ahead of this one, which
Yes.
is the first Mon-El.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I always laugh that the name that Mon-El has, Bob Cobb, was used by Seinfeld for the Maestro's real name.
I have two of these.
Nice.
Then comes this one, which is a big book.
Yeah, another one.
Theirs is where umpteen people come in.
Including Sunboy.
Yes.
Was this
Drinking
before that
Violet?
other one?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It's when Superboy never met Sunboy till that point. But
Okay.
Supergirl did. Well, because technically he didn't get in the Legion in this book. That was his first Legion appearance, but it ended up not being Sunboy anyway.
I love how all the adventure comics in the background. I like how you changed your background, Steven, so that it's just adventure comics issues of the Legion back there.
Oh, I have to. I mean, they deserve it. Now, you know, Cliff, I did a lengthy adventure comic piece, probably one of the best pieces I've ever done. I poured my heart out to Mr. Atkinson. I gave part of my soul to Matt Atkinson, and then he accidentally hit a wrong button and he erased me completely.
I told you, Cliff, I'm not comfortable with technology. That is one of the best ones.
Super Pets.
The brain globes are so hilarious. And yes, the
Ow,
Super Pets.
great Scott, my pals are shooting me with kryptonite rings, Choke. Why? At one time, this book I bought from Harley Yee, and this book was listed price was $160.
Wow.
And that was a while.
They did Superboy bad in the first few appearances. They tease him in the first one, then they think he's evil in the second one, because of all the things he was destroying on the president's orders, and now they come in and they shoot him because they're being taken over by the mind globes. It's like
The poor guy can't win for losing.
why he trusts them, I don't know.
By the way, they're jerks in many of their first appearances as well.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Cliff, I've said to Matt several times, but if I could figure if someone bought and made a hat like the superhero clubhouse
Yep.
and had the fins, yellow hat like that, and had fin, I would buy it. If they had those, I would buy them for you guys. I would wear it proudly, and everyone would be so jealous. Or not. But I would wear it with pride.
I would
Jason is asking a question for you. Any chance we could see zombie trap books in the background one day?
Scoff, I have a slew of zombie trap. I fell into the trap, and I got those books from Bigby McFly, the comic guy, and we worked a big trade. And he had found his honey hole that is actually no longer. but I have like a short box filled with Zombie Tramp books, and someday I will do that. After 300 was such a beautiful book, I have to confess that 301, I thought we'd have something better for 301. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah,
wrong
I
with
know.
this, but after 300, 301 is just, there just ain't a whole lot going on here.
Don't we get a first appearance in 301?
We do.
Who is it? Who is it, Matt?
No, I think actually 301 is Bouncing Boy's
Origin.
origin story. That's what
Yeah.
he tells. So I don't think we get a first appearance per se. We just get an origin.
Well, an
But,
Origin's good.
Yeah.
Chuck Tane.
Chuck Tane. Yeah. The part I don't understand is it shows how 60s the book is. If you've read the Chuck Tane story in there, he stops to watch a fight or whatever it was he watched, but it cost him only 50 cents for a soda pop. I would think with the inflation.
It is of the day.
Yeah. Matter eater lad.
Remember, they're being positive about the future. They weren't living in it.
Yes, that's true.
That's very true. I always like these books from 1959, in the year 2000, and that's 25 years ago. Where's the flying cars? I'm like Calvin and Hobbes. Where's
Yeah.
the flying cars?
Exactly.
This was a very, very hard book to get in nice shape. And it was weird how they did this, but they put this screwy Superman Super Hombre stamp up underneath the DC logo.
Oh, right.
They only did this one book.
I'll have to look at my copy. I don't remember seeing that at all, but that's
kind
cool.
of funny.
And that one is another very sad book because we all know what happened in that book, right?
What happened in that book?
The Death of Lightning Lad.
The death
Oh,
of
was that his death?
that
Yes.
was his death, yes. At Zara and the Conqueror there. 305. Now, I'm actually blanking on this one. 306.
God, say it isn't so.
This 306 is the substitutes. 305.
Yeah. 305 is The Secret of the Mystery Legionnaire.
Right. No, that's 307.
And it's no 305. Yeah, well, this is the mystery superhero. This is Element Lad.
Yes.
305, the Mystery Legionnaire, is, oh, look, we cured Mon-El, and he became this other dude. with
Right.
the brown
Yes.
costume.
Legionnaire Lemon. That's it. Yes. Okay. That's what I was trying to remember. Yes.
Poor Mon-El would be cured, and then he wouldn't be cured. They kept him stuck in there with Zod and all those unpleasant people. This was also a very, very hard book to get for years and years, and finally I found a nice one.
Lightning Lass,
yes. Lightning Lass.
who shows up with a fresh haircut to look like her brother, and Sunboy's like, hey, the haircut, it can't be Lightning Lad.
And no Adam's apple.
Do you know the problem? Or maybe they're no, but you know the thing about it, that they're not supposed to each have the same powers too.
Right. Well,
And then
he's dead.
she was
He's dead at that time.
Yeah.
he was still dead at that time.
Yes.
Okay.
She's impersonating him. And then
I think
that's why when he
these
comes back from the dead, the resentment starts building because Dream Girl's like, oh, I fixed it. I gave you gravity powers. And she was like, thanks, I'm still a Legionnaire with powers I didn't ask for.
These books are out of order. They must be, because I thought you have to have the one. Oh, there it is up there. There's the one that I'm missing. All of these are missing. That's where I took the chunk out. I had two of these too.
Nice.
Nice. That's a beautiful one. The Renegade Legionnaire. And this is where it's established that Phantom Girl likes Ultra Boy.
Yes.
Fools.
Yes. Hi, JSS. Hi, Lau.
Fools. This book is an 8.0, and it cost $55 when I bought it.
Dream Girl, and the cameo of Time
Yeah.
Trapper.
Yes.
Why
and
do
it's
the kids, when the kids get shrunk, why is it always me want me my mommy,
because they're because whoever's writing, and in this case,
me
it might be-
hungry? These illiterate children.
Well, let's be clear; those were very illiterate times.
yes,
Hey,
and it's just so
you're
funny how
talking about my ute. You're talking about my ute.
Mhm.
I love this.
I don't
I
stand
love that.
corrected, but like,
Yeah, but you're
Look at
standing
this
on it.
thing.
I know. I always I
What
have
I
quite a
find
few
hilarious
jokes.
is how shrinking Violet is suddenly turned into a kid and forgets how to use her powers at first.
This one, I also have dupes. This is an 808085. This was also $60 in
Ah,
the
yes, when Sun Boys gets burnout.
and we get the full Time Trapper.
Yes,
Why does Cosmic Boy have white trunks on? Does he wear white trunks?
he does until
Until he had that terrible gastric accident?
yes.
Okay.
The thing is that what that book also signifies,
Hmm.
the team that's off on the that were sent off for mutiny there. This was the first time we actually got to see a Legion teamwork that was more than 2 panels.
Okay.
Because, like, even in the books where they went to that planet of the pirates there, and Lightning Lad, you stay back because you don't have powers, right? They're literally only working together for like 2 or 3 panels, and then it's over. Because Lightning Lad does have powers and saves everybody. So,
Does
it's kind
Ultra
of
Boy
sad.
tell everybody who that Clark Kent is Superboy? Does he do it?
He starts doing it, but what happens is that he realizes he's in a different dimension, that he accidentally crossed over to another Earth, and he managed to tell the Superboy of that Earth, better get over here. Because
And
he
that's
said,
Pete Ross in the front row, isn't it?
yes,
Yep.
Pete Ross of that world. And
I don't trust that Pete Ross.
turns out those Legionnaires from that story were kicked out of the Legion and bad guys, so they wanted to get back at Clark Kent.
And we
Okay.
never hear about that world ever again.
I know. And it's a different world because Smallville is spelled with only one L. That's
Now,
how. So it was Smallville.
Smallville. Smallville. Okay.
And now this, I love this book because the Legion of Substitute Heroes has its day.
You know what-
Checkmate, Legionnaires.
You want to know something that I think is hilarious? That the issue is called the Legion's Suicide Squad, and this is when the Comic Code Authority was in full gear.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Yes. Yeah, it's the stuff they let go by and the stuff they wouldn't let go by.
Yeah, makes no sense.
But
No,
to be fair, the Suicide Squad had already made its debut. So
This
that
was
doesn't mean anything. It just based on the Comic Code Authority. It's like, nope, you no longer exist. You can't have children being called Suicide Squad.
that's it. You can't go into the suicide stuff. This was one of the first books that I got, and I remember I hated Dev M. I hated him.
I only liked Dev M when it was time for them to retcon him. It was so upsetting.
Dev M, I bought his first appearance as well. That's an Adventure Comics about 285, I think.
Yep, it's on my Legion to-do list.
Yeah, I actually got
Is it
that.
up there? Is it up here?
No,
No,
it's a very black cover, sir.
Okay.
Very
I don't know if
black.
I have that.
I actually bought it.
Here's 321.
321. I love this. This is the one where all the Legion is trying to see if they can break from keeping a secret because they were trying to catch somebody. And the person that was doing all this was the person they were trying to catch.
Lightning Lad, goodbye. You've brought this upon yourself. Food, water, books. And he's sitting on the pooper.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that back then they're imagining all of this amazing technology and like they included books Like
Yeah.
it should have just been food, water, computer, and like off you go.
I know, but again, that's a concept that they didn't get yet, right? So
Right, but they clearly understand computers when they were writing this because like they have people appearing on telescreen, like they knew something.
yeah,
Well, they knew something. Edmund Hamilton, who was one of the writers, big writers for this series, started off in Weird Tales, the pulps. Starboy wears white shorts too.
Starboy wears white shorts too.
Yep. Good boys
White
wear
suit.
white until it's too late.
Yes. Starboy's color does change to yellow later.
That's what I thought.
No,
Yeah.
actually, in his first appearance, the trunks are yellow.
Yeah, they are.
I think that the white was a color error.
Yeah, probably.
They're
color.
yellow in the issue he kills somebody.
Yeah. Then they're yellow where he first shows up.
Yeah. And I love this too. The initiation of Prodi 2. Turns out he's got more in
I always say Prodi. If
Brody.
yeah.
I think it's a Canadian thing then.
Protoplasm.
Yeah.
Prodi. Proto. You don't say. What did you say?
Prodi.
You don't say protoplasm, do you?
No, but we always said Prodi when we were kids, so I assume.
I see. Okay.
Okay,
That's
so
okay. When I was in first grade, I thought Chameleon Boy's name was Chamelin Lad.
I know that too. I too.
Hello, Big Lyle.
It wasn't until somebody in school taught us about chameleons that I realized that it was Chameleon Boy.
No, do you want to know
what a perfect name?
I was in science class and I had to read the chapter about lizards, and the second paragraph was about the chameleon, and I said Chamelin, and the entire class
cracked up,
hated me and laughed at me. It was wonderful.
This book, by the way,
you knew you were an actor at that point.
Yes.
This book proves that Prodi is an intelligent being compared to the rest of the pets.
Why, is he the cylinder?
No, but he is the one that devises this method. This book is to decide who's going to be the leader.
Yep.
And they had the person who was to win this had to figure out the clues that Prodi created in order to solve the puzzle and become leader of the Legion. And Saturn
And who
Girl,
wins? Who
Saturn
wins?
Girl.
Saturn Girl.
It's always Saturn Girl.
Let me tell you, she deserves it. Freaking some lady had to be leading a team back then.
That's true.
It was very forward thinking, but she was a bitch.
Hey,
your powers
capable.
suck. Get out. We think you suck. Get out.
Yeah, well,
and they're all crying and everything like that. She was so rude.
I would say she's the original Mean Girl.
She was the Mean Girl.
Hey, how many times did she time travel to pretend to be Supergirl to commit fraudulent marriages to save Supergirl?
That's part of her charm. That's
and don't forget when she went into the past to play Circe and make Superman look ridiculous.
Circe.
Yes. Circe,
not Circe. Circe or Circe. July 29th of this year for a September book. Always 2 months ahead.
Yep. And that one is the Heroes of Lalor.
The Legion of Super Outlaws.
Which I'll never understand why Gas Girl. That's just wrong. What if she's methane?
My guess is she is, and that's another thing, Kenny, is we say methane.
Oh, yes.
The British say methane.
We are Canada is such a weird, awkward language, half and half. And this is another good one where Lex Luthor actually fights the Legion.
Yep.
Getting in, pretending to be good, and is one of the few times Supergirl actually shows up in a story. And she's there briefly. So what we'll do right now is we'll let Cliff have a little turn.
Okay. This is another one of those ones from that woman.
Very nice.
Nice.
Put that one later.
Well, this is terrible because you went through just about everything that I have to talk about.
I'm sorry.
And then I think I'm about to step on. I think I'm about to step on Matt's stuff.
Don't
Um,
worry about me. I've got everything. I can pull
all right,
things pretty
so
quick.
I'm going to start with 2 Legion issues that are very important to me. My introduction to Legion superheroes is Superman #8, and
Right.
of the John Byrne run. So I went on a quest to find these 2 issues, and now I have 3 copies of each of these issues because I couldn't find them when I was a kid.
Right.
And that's issue 37 from the Paul Levitz run.
Yep. That is a great book. This is a
It
great
is. And 38.
Mhm.
Both
And-
both chapters 1 and 4 of the Death of Superboy.
Yes. And this is the story where you realize the depth of how much Duo Damsel loved him.
Oh yeah, and it sets what it sets up for issue 50 is so good.
Amazing.
You
And
know?
I have to feel bad for Bouncing Boy at this point because now it definitely feels like he's the second choice.
But I don't think like that's fair. You know,
No.
you can deeply love somebody.
I
Right?
do get that. I do get that. I'm just saying it's like
It's the
when-
unrequited love. You know, they have to. There has to be a certain level of angst. The Marvel influence you see for DC. We must have problems.
Yeah.
Well, I always laugh at how clueless Clark is during the adventure run, where she's basically throwing herself at him, and he's like,
Oh, I
"Good
know.
night, Luorno." Like,
All right. Now with that, I'm gonna spin this. And we're gonna do some very unusual Legion love. I'm gonna spin into Valor.
nice.
All right. So at this point in time, we're now in the first reboot of the Legion of Superheroes,
That is correct.
and so Largand actually is the replacement for Superboy, right? His history with the Legion is now the most important thing ever, so that the Legionnaires exist, right?
Yep.
Because he needed to be around the past. He needed to reseed the United Planets and become this legend, right?
Who was Largand again?
Monel.
Okay.
And then, of course, here the Legion becomes aware that there are problems,
Yep.
and they start investigating. And then issue 15, Dead on Arrival, begins.
That one was nasty.
They're all nasty. So
I know, but
Monel,
this one was more particularly nasty than the others.
they're all bad. I wish I had all of them with me. Monel Valor is murdered. And now the Legionnaires have to snatch him from another moment in time and use that version of him to fulfill the rest of his destiny so they can restore order and balance to the timeline. But guess what? It ain't happening, Jack. Because then we get into end of an era,
Yeah.
right? And
That's right.
everything's fading away. The Legion can't do anything about it. Why can't they do anything about it? It's because Parallax has begun his 0-hour campaign.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm calling it a 0-hour campaign, but Parallax has initiated a 0-hour campaign, and the Legion, once again, does not survive, and they are rebooted again. And then lastly, this book I'm going to show just in honor of Peter David. Supergirl 75 from his run on Supergirl.
I love that book. That was the hardest one for me to find of that. I literally searched for 3 years for that book, and it was the last one I needed for that series.
So in the meantime, this copy that I'm holding, I recently snatched up out of a dollar bin.
Oh no. I paid $35 for mine.
Yeah, it is hard. It is difficult to get an issue of this, but the copy I have in the other room is the one I bought off the rack. I was like the only person buying Supergirl.
Wow. That's impressive.
You know? So, and again, this wasn't even like the regular dollar book. It was one of those buy 15 comics for $10. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and then I'm like, Supergirl, Peter David. Woo! But yeah,
I did get a bunch of Supergirl books like that when I first started buying comics again from the 5th series. You know, just after she had come back, and but I and a couple from that series, but I haven't been lucky with the the thing is, there's only like 8,000 of those out there. It's really, really, really short run printed.
And here I have the first appearance of Chameleon Boy, Invisible Kid, and Colossal Boy, the third appearance of the Legion, and the first time Supergirl meets the Legion,
Oh,
in
nice.
which for no reason they say that they're the children of the original Legionnaires.
I know.
So this was a big score.
I actually read the story behind that. They said that in that one because the writer was afraid that people wouldn't understand it was the same people because it was 30 years or 20 years later, right? In our timeline.
Time travel would be too much for them.
I know. But the fact is, if you look at the way the actual chronicles go, Supergirl joined before Superboy.
Yes.
So,
and of course, she joins here.
yes, that is on my my must get list.
Oh my gosh, I actually beat you to this one. This is the one I sweated buckets over because I did not realize that it was coming from
I'm actually hoping I'm going to the Montreal Comic Con in a little over a month, and I'm hoping I can find that there because there's going to be a lot of dealers I haven't seen before.
And then, of course, while I'm in repeat mode, I got this for $120, and I was so excited.
Yes, it's such a good book.
That's my big Legion moment for you guys right now.
Very nice.
My other Legion moment gets really weird when we come back to me.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do a few books and then we'll go back to Stephen. I decided to pull from when the Legion went from being Superboy and the Legion to their own title. This is Legion of Superheroes 259. The first time the book was actually just called Legion of Superheroes. So it had gone from Superboy #1 to Superboy and the Legion, and then finally in their own title. At this point, Superboy was given the title The New Adventures to make up for it, which I have the complete run of as well. But this one was really sad because they had to kick him out because he found out what happened to his adoptive parents, how they died, and he couldn't get it out of their mind. And they really had to Saturn Girl had to really be on the ball to get him out, and she gave him a hypnotic suggestion of never coming back and forgetting about it. So,
who drew that cover?
I'm not sure actually. It says here Dick Giordano is so it's probably Dick Giordano by himself because he doesn't.
It looks like it could be him.
Yeah.
Is that a Michael Turner Supergirl on your shirt?
It is.
Very nice.
But I'm wearing it because I know you had the book. So
thank you.
And I bought this when I was a little smaller too. This is a little tight on me. But no, what is the other cool thing about this book is, as I said, it was not only, this was January of 1980. So it was almost like here's a brand new decade. Let's split them and do them. Here is Legion of Superheroes 260. This is the next one after. This is also Giordano. You'll start seeing around this time that some of the costumes start going back, that the 70s costumes are done. It's around this time that Saturn Girl starts going back to her full outfit and not wearing the bikini anymore, for example. This is 261.
Who's with the white helmet? Is that Saturn Girl? And the
no,
cape?
That's not a white helmet. That's Princess Projectra. That's her white hair.
Yep.
Okay, so she has a bob cut then.
Yes. Here is one of the coolest books from this run, Legion 262. This is one hell of a bad guy, and they actually have to work real hard because they were in a situation where they looked like they could only get out of it by killing somebody, and so there was this issue, a big issue about it. So next up is probably the best cover that I've seen Shadow Lass on. This is 263.
Yeah. Also Dick Giordano.
Yeah. I think they're all Dick Giordano in this time because this one is also Dick Giordano. It's another good Shadow Last one, but it also has Tyrock and Dawnstar, and they're very, very nice.
What are Tyrock's powers?
Tyrock has the guy from the Inhumans there, Black Bolt.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say supersonic powers, but okay.
Yeah.
And,
But
And
the difference is he can control that.
yes.
Who's the flying gal? I keep forgetting.
Dawnstar.
Dawnstar. Her powers are tracking. She's a super tracker because
Okay.
it's partly from her upbringing and mutation, and the other part she's good at tracking because she's descended from Native Americans who were taken away from Earth back in the 12th century.
So we're still oppressing the Indians. That's nice.
No, they have their own planet. They're very independent.
Thankfully.
265. So
We still with
continuation of the
Tyrock.
last book. We still got Tyrock in his fun, funky disco era outfit.
Yeah. And do you know what the bonus story is in there? I'm sure you do.
Is that not the Laurel Kent one?
No, the bonus story is the TRS Radio Shack Superman adventure.
That is correct. Yes, I'm looking at it right now. That would be this, which I have pulled out to get signed by Jim Starlin at
Yes.
Montreal Comic Con.
Was he cool? Was he cool? Oh, we are gonna see him.
Yes, I'm going to see him in Montreal. I'm going to get this signed because of all the books I own by Jim Starlin. This is the funkiest.
I sent my copy of that to Joe Lyons, Black Box Silver and Bronze, because he likes all those. I actually got that when I went into Radio Shack to get a circuit breaker or something. It was ridiculous.
I got it from when I got with the other two. So the next one is actually a really cool story. When I first got these, I got these ones off the rack when I was a kid. And this was like, oh my God, like this, it just reignited my love for the Legion. Bouncing Boy and Duo Damsel return. And this is one where they're fighting with a guy who used to be a genie.
Oh my.
Yeah, this is number 266. And then 267. And this is just there's just 4 Legionnaires in these two stories, but it is a great one.
So they make Chuck Tane look bigger just to begin with, than rather than looking regular and then blipping up. But his first appearances, he wasn't as skinny as Kurt Swan made him.
No, he wasn't.
I love how the Legion's like, we gotta get everybody we can to stop all these Jinn from becoming an army.
Well, it's actually the reason why they're there is because it's Duo Damsel and Bouncing Boy that accidentally release it.
Yeah, I know, but they're the ones who have to call in the other Legionnaires. I love how the technology is good enough at this point that it's like not even too big of a feat to call in reinforcements.
And yet there's still magic, right? So
yeah.
So Legion 268,
Oh,
another cool one. This guy is like
Perez cover.
You know, it's a great cover. We've got Chameleon Boy, Karate Kid, and Dream Girl. And of course, they've got the roster on the side like they used to do with these. In this time period, they did it with the JLA every time they had a crossover.
Yeah. And not only is that a George Perez Terry Austin cover, it is also a J.M. DeMatteis issue.
Yes, that is true. You are correct. And I believe that also applies here because this is the Legion of Superheroes versus the Fatal Five in issue 260.
Yeah, unfortunately, we go right back to Dick Giordano on the cover, pencils by Jimmy James on the interior, and it's written by Jerry Conway, I think.
Yeah, Levitz comes back shortly after this, but not soon enough as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 more, and then I'm going to go to Steven. This is Legion 270. I just like this time bubble cover.
Yeah.
And the reveal of who the Dark Man is one of the best things that ever happened in this series.
Who's Dark Man?
The Dark Man is a clone of Tharok, who is the leader of the Fatal Five. But unlike Tharok, he's human because he's the clone. He's not half
It,
robot.
okay, so Cyrok or Thyrock is a cyborg, isn't that
Yeah,
correct?
that's him right here.
Yeah.
He's the leader of the Fatal Five until his death. And here we go. Light last finally gets some cover love. And Block has joined the Legion at this point. He joins the Legion in this book.
Yep.
Is it the gray gargoyle behind him?
That's right.
Oh, that's
Not his first appearance, but it's just when he joins the Legion.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've brought tonight. We're going to go to Steven now for another round of awesomeness. Hi, K-Pop. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Hi, Lord of Brooklyn. Good to see you.
This is another one from this estate.
This one is such a petty looking book in the sense of the plot with the women trying to they're so mad at their men, so they make the Legion women hate their men. It's
Do you know the thing is what a clean when you look at how complicated those covers are that you and Cliff are showing, that the line and clean lines of these books from the 60s.
yeah.
It just I understand your love of the Legion is great. I mean, I admire both of you guys because I really I don't go that far with them. I don't know all the different incarnations where they go. It's fascinating to hear you guys regale me because I am very unfamiliar with the canon. But I am. It's been a while since it's been a minute since I've gotten into these. Because at one point in my youth, I had every single all I had to do was look at the cover and I had the whole story and the ending of it and stuff like that.
Well, I'm certainly that way with the what I call the Adventure 300 run. You know, from 300 on, I certainly can see the cover and know exactly what most of the stories. I got tripped up there on 305, but you know. Cliff, the second he said it, I recognize it. That's the one where Timberwolf's first appearance, and that was the last one I got to complete my run of adventure.
This one is a 9/2, and this was $110.
Yeah, I paid $40 for mine. It was the hardest one to get. It's actually a popular issue from that run because Lone Wolf / Timberwolf, had
He's a good.
He's
Yeah,
one of
he's
the
a
more
prime.
popular characters.
And at the time, we were such purists that because we all we got was Pa Kent with a handful of kryptonite,
Yeah.
and all we got was just a little teeny face bubble down at the bottom with the Legion. I says, we don't want Pa Kent with kryptonite. We want the Legion.
And that story with Lone Wolf has one of the biggest enigmas in Legion history. That one panel at the beginning of the book where the guy comes in and says, "I've been sent here because I tried to break in on the Legion monitoring board," and you never find out who this guy is. It was just a one panel off, and people have discussed. I've seen discussion forums go crazy about who this person is.
Really?
Yes. Back in the day before YouTube was a thing, everybody was talking about the Legion on places like CBR and things like that. And this is another good one where you don't believe what's going on, but Element Lad is really in his element in this one. Because I mean, he actually manages to make Superboy look like he can turn diamond into coal, and gets rid of the Bizarro Legion. It's great. Dynamo Kid. Who doesn't love Dynamo Kid? Well, lots of
No
people.
one I know.
That was one of the first Legion two-parters, if not the first.
This one took me an awfully long time to get. I don't know why. It's weird how some books you always saw, and then other books you just didn't. And this was one of the ones I just couldn't find. Finally, I found one.
Well, this is the first time that the Legion of Supervillains is in this run of adventure. I think it's their first appearance since their first appearance as well.
I think so.
So, therefore, this became a very difficult and popular book. When the Legion was really popular, this one was up there in terms of value.
Oh, I can tell you that it was a hassle. I'm usually around 40 to 60, $70, 85, something or another. And then if it's particularly nice, etc. This, of course, is our Super Moby Dick.
Ooh. Lightning Lad really is the hard luck kid of the Legion. Always
Well,
has been.
he's the most
Always will be.
popular Legionnaire, and he's Captain Ahab. He's all these things.
Yeah. Actually, he was the most popular Legionnaire after Superboy for most of the run.
To be honest, I always kept Superboy in my mind. I always kept Superboy to one side. That he was basically working with the Legionnaires, not as a Legionnaire. That's kind of in my head. That's how the Legionnaires are functioning unless he comes up through the time to see them or visit them or something.
Well, what I always find interesting is like if you read the letter pages, people really like Superboy. They really like that he's a part of it, and
Well,
that
it's Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes.
they
I
were
mean,
always
there you are.
trying to get him to be the leader.
Do you know what I right? They always want him to be the leader. Something I really liked about it is that Superboy had friends, because if you think about it, Clark's existence is very lonely.
It
Yeah.
is exactly that.
You
And
know?
the part that they don't really show, but you learn through later years, like as the Legion expands, especially this was after the Legion came back in the 2000s there, that Superboy actually spends a year there nonstop, and then he comes back to 1 second after he left the first time. The problem is he would have aged in that year, and that isn't accounted for in the Superboy story.
All the rest of it is true. It's all true, Matt.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
Well,
I'm just saying.
by the way, Clark not noticeably aging the 1 year. I mean, he's Kryptonian. I mean, we can write that off.
Right. You do get that point, but it's more a case of his maturity levels is what I'm thinking more.
Well,
like,
He was just as mature as he made him. I mean, as he had to be.
Listen, I'm going to defend Clark having unbalanced maturity levels, because the psychosis behind time traveling, being the world's most powerful looking human, but not being human, and then all these trifling hoes back in Smallville trying to out your secret identity and question everything you do, you know?
Persecution. It's persecution.
It is persecution. And by the way, this is why I relate to Superman so much in my childhood. It's very awful.
Well, I've always felt like an outsider for when I was a kid. So I've always and honestly, the fact that there were Superboy books and Super Baby books made it easier for me to actually identify with them.
This was another one that was really hard to get. And in the day they were more available. And it's weird how I looked and looked and looked for a copy of this book. I finally got one. And then this is actually that is part of the cover, that slit right there. That is part of the ink. That's not a tear.
I know I have the same book.
And
that is probably Supergirl's finest moment with the Legion of Superheroes, apart from Satan Girl. And both of them are Red Kryptonite stories. That's the thing that sucks.
Do you know that there was a thing about this one. I remember I was delivering the Oregon Journal newspaper. I would pick up my newspapers down at the corner of my grade school, and then I had the evening newspaper after school. I had my newspaper bag, where you put over your head, and you have a bunch of papers in the front and a bunch of papers in the back I would fold tomahawks. I didn't put rubber bands and roll them up. I used tomahawks, which you just pull the tab and then the paper just opens up. But you could throw them away, and it was pretty good. I was reading the marriage issue of them, as I was, in other words, the Legion was with me all the way through in grade school and what have you. See how nice Starfinger's helmet is here. How nice and
Yes,
angular, very manta ray or whatever.
yes,
Looks
the
very,
black
very
and
manta ray.
this is at least a year before Black Manta.
Um, and then in this issue, which this green cover shows everything. In the second one, look how
Yeah,
the helmet looks here.
I know it
It
doesn't
it
look.
it was it bugged me because I always pay attention, for those things. And excuse me, who was Starfinger?
Lightning Lad.
Yes, but
Who
not
who
really
else
because he was mind controlled.
He was mind controlled, but also him having the fake arm made it easy to
to
put
do
these
the
things
to
like
do the
technology
wowies,
make
the
it
hoodoo,
power.
yeah, the hoodoo that he could do with, yeah.
The clue was supposed to be the fact that he could only do powers out of his right hand, which is the
Mhm.
one that's missing.
So
But what's
this
also interesting is that roster of Legionnaires is missing 4 apparently,
probably.
including Supergirl.
Well, she's not really a hero anyway. Okay, so here's this one.
What?
I'm just kidding. This one here, this was what I was reading delivering the newspaper.
Yeah, what a great story. Not only did they definitely solidify Phantom Girl and Ultra Boy, but then you really got the feeling that Saturn Girl and Lightning Lad were actually dating at this point. Before it was kind
They
of
actually were.
They actually were.
They actually
Got
were.
married. They got married.
They got
Well,
married.
remember, we know how serious she is for Lightning Lad because she was so willing to give up her life
That's
in 312.
Remember?
take me. Yeah.
And one of the things was that everybody points out was how Lightning Lad noticed the blonde on that fateful day where the Legion was created.
Yeah, no, I love as we've gone back to do the origin that like stands out where he's like she's the first thing he notices, and of
Okay.
course her being a telepath, she's damn good. She's like, redhead thinks I'm hot.
Yeah. But one of the things that speaking about her telepathic powers, in the adventure run when they brought it back in 2009 and they were doing some of the Legion stories that were told in between these,
Yes,
there is an issue where Saturn Girl goes on a date with Cosmic Boy and they end up having sex. And then in the morning, she completely obliterates his memories of it so that she doesn't have to think about it and that they don't have any awkwardness. Could you imagine?
That's handy, isn't it?
I don't know why. I don't recall that. But worse, there's like a whole thing where, hey, Christina Payne, there's a whole thing. Boy, you really love the heroes of Laylor.
They were
Actually, Beast Boy dies in that issue, doesn't he?
He does. He
Yeah.
died. He's mad at humanity for the way they treat animals and the way they treat him because he was still an outcast on his planet where the other heroes were loved and and then he gives his life to save a little girl. So after being evil for a little while, he redeems himself.
selfless.
Ah, yes, very sad. However, she doesn't seem in this. The writing sucks. You would think she'd be a little more pissed at losing a body. Then, I guess I'll just be Duo Damsel.
Wouldn't she realize one of her triplicates had been killed?
Well, later in the Legion, they would have said that that's what happened, but honestly, they didn't show that very well in this book. But then again, look at the computer.
Yeah.
Just like they always look here. I always like it when it's coming after it's got all the Will Robinson thing going on with the snaky hands everywhere. This I bought. This is an 8.0, and this was a $40 book back in the day. And that was before I got my discount. Then I beat him up on the price. All these mark prices, I beat him up for a discount because this may surprise you guys, but back in the day, the Legion was really nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like now?
I mean like now.
Yeah. Matt, tell him what I sent you.
Oh, he sent me this photo of an upcoming potential comic. How do I put this? Let's see here. Cliff, there we go. Basically, he sent me that it's a tombstone in the shape of the rocket saying "R.I.P. Legion of Superheroes."
Well, that's very pleasant, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's an idea that kind of saddens me. And there we go. This is the second half of the computer one where they finally start being able to break them up.
This cover always seemed to get really dirty trying to find a clean
Yeah.
cover of this book. It's very difficult to
And
find
isn't
one.
that the first go-go check?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first go-go check. So we're into February of 1966.
Yeah.
This is a really tough cover because it's so purpley dark.
Yes, and it's so
Oh, I love
sad. I love it because it's a big part of Starboy, of his life and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's too simplistic for me. Like, well, you could have just, done this on the branch. He is not thinking,
Fighting
and
for his
he is
life, and he's
fighting for
supposed
his
to.
life. And he's literally doing the first thing he could have think of, because you're doing split second stuff in there. I understand they have the code against killing, but I'm glad he gets back in later.
Hey, every Legionnaire that committed murder got a second try. Don't worry.
Yeah, same with Justice Leaguers, because both Green Arrow and Flash killed somebody, and they were both kept in there. And Wonder Woman has killed several people.
Well, no, they didn't. They don't. The Justice League never had an official rule, right?
No, that is true. But
And Wonder Woman did not kill until well into the Greg Rucka run, where she kills Medusa on live television. And she's just like, well, Medusa's like a mythical monster, not a person. And Superman's like, well, I would have quit Diana. And I was like, Superman. And then, as you know, she has to snap Maxwell
Lord's neck. Yes.
Right, which of course she's trying to help her main man, Superman. And then look how that happens. Batman's disgusted with both of them. And I'm like, okay, Batman, you can really only be disgusted with one person here. All right.
Listen, Jason Todd kills and Batman still works with him. So
because he's a guilty dad. He's a guilty dad. And he should be.
This is a big book. And a lot of the guys that don't collect the Legion collect this particular book.
Yes. I've heard about, and what is interesting is they brought back Starboy an issue after they kicked him out because they needed him. It's so funny. It's like, well, we hate you for killing, but we need you right now, so come back.
Well,
why do they say a hoodoo?
Does take him to join the Legion subs. Don't forget.
Yes, at least him and Dream Girl were substitute heroes. And by the way, there is the issue of the series I just showed you, 306, has a spotlight on Starboy, and you get some insight into his period with the substitutes, and I thought that was a good one.
By the way, according to this is the issue that Pete Ross discovers Superboy's secret identity.
This one here?
Yeah, 343.
Yes, because they reprinted.
Okay, so it's a reprint of the Superboy issue story. Okay.
Of that one that I had
they did original stories of Superboy until issue 314. 315 to 50-ish, 349-ish, they did reprints of Superboy, and then around 350 or so, definitely by 350, but the Legion got the whole book. Maybe 346. It might even be earlier because
well, I think 46 and 47 they get the whole book because that's when Jim Shooter jumps on and
that's right. And I think
these are the last new Legionnaires.
Yeah, I think these are the last two where they don't have the full book. Excellent. This is a great story. In this story, the Matter Eater lad becomes really big.
This is another really tough one because it's such a dark cover to get it nice and clean.
Yeah. I find it hilarious that Array changes its molecular power because it hits Kryptonian skin. It's just, and not even the skin, he hits the costume.
And the costume, though, has gone through space, and what kind of chemicals in the cosmos or through time have penetrated or
Oh,
put
that's good.
onto his costume, and the vagaries and the fates that had the ray blast here hit the exact spot that going around and transmogrifying an alien ray to hit him just that way to change him, right?
Yes, and also the fact that the alien, okay, 1,000 years from now, the alien is able to use a baseball reference.
Well, it's a classic thing.
Yes, I do like throwing out those little things. Okay,
You're entitled.
I'm allowed, right?
Here we go.
And here we go, Jim
This
Shooter's
is
first ever book.
I cried when Feral Lad died. I really liked him. I was rooting for him. I liked him a lot.
Yep.
And
Well-
it really bothered me. It bothered me that he died. And then when the ghost of Feral Lad happens, and I'm hoping that he comes back. And I say some way that they could bring him back, and they never did. His brother, I guess. But
Yes, his brother. Well, you know the story behind Feral Lad, right? Where Jim Shooter originally intended.
I
him
know
to
you
be
told me
black.
the story
No,
that they wouldn't, that he was supposed to be black and he wore a mask and all that.
Yep.
Here
But
is this
because he
one.
was told no, he said, "Screw you! I'm going to kill this character off." Then that's basically what happened. And the DC didn't want him to kill him.
I liked. Well, how does the writer get anyway?
Yeah.
This one is from July 11th, 1968. No, 66. 66.
Yeah,
July
the
of
second part of that
66.
story. Where
Yeah.
we find out Nemesis Kid is the bad
In
guy.
Nemesis Kid, they say, "Well, we've got you." They're talking to Karate Kid. "We've got you covered. You can't get out." And then he comes out. It's like a Perry Mason episode. Yes, it was me. I did it. I'm going to tell you everything. Oh,
I know, it's great.
I
All
love
right,
it.
based on the time, we're going to flip the cliff for a little while.
Oh my. All right, so I'm gonna be really weird with you in my shift in choices. And I'm gonna do a little. Oh, nope,
Oh.
just dropped a whole bunch of books. That's awesome. All right.
Oh
Okay, so we're gonna get really strange because we're gonna go down a road that I'm sure you were not expecting. I know I
did
was.
they all fall all over the place?
All right, so how about? Oh my! I don't even have all the ones I want to go on about. All right, but we're gonna go back in time. We're gonna go to 1989,
Oh, good time.
and we're gonna discover Legion 89.
Lobo.
So this is where Lobo first encounters the Legion, and of course, Vril Doc's Brainiac 2 genetic ancestor to Brainiac 5,
Yep.
right? K-pop 89 was a good year. You bet it was.
I'm guessing that was a birth year for one or two of you.
Well, mine is 78, and my birthday book is Marvel Team Up with it was Spider-Man and Captain Britain.
Very cool.
All right, so man, I have a copy of this I bought off the rack. So here Lobo's introduced, right? And then not introduced. I mean, he's introduced to Legion, right? And
Yes.
then issue 6, right? Issue 6, Lobo is now captured, and Vril Dox is fixing him so that he does not produce duplicates when he bleeds.
Nice.
And of course, this is Shadowlass's ancestor.
That's right.
And then that was 6. So here's Stealth, and her species goes through, a feral season for mating.
Yes.
And she violates Vril Dox in this issue, and then becomes pregnant with his child, who won't be a very good person, by the way. He'll take over the Legion of this era eventually as the little monster genius that he is, but he is the third Brainiac, also making him an ancestor to Brainiac 5.
Yes. Brainiac 5 did not have the best bloodline.
No, he absolutely, poor guy, does not. And then over here, Lobo is sent into action.
Nice.
I don't know. This issue is just, the cover is goofier than the actual issue, and Lobo is starting to pick up the pace on Lobo being a badass.
Right.
And then I love this one because it takes years for the continuity to be addressed.
Mhm.
This is 1989, and somewhere in the 1990s, we figure it out. Phase appears in the Legion.
Yes. Phase is Phantom Girl, Stephen.
And
Okay,
Phase
thank
is
you.
Phantom Girl. But she's a piece of Phantom Girl because Phantom Girl had no idea that she was part what's the race of Triplicate Girl?
Kargan.
Right. She had no idea she was part Kargan. So a transporter accident, there's an explosion. They think they've lost her, but no. One part of her is somewhere. Phase, who can just phase through stuff and be seen, is back here in the Legion, and she's tangible too. Like, she can touch things. Apparition is in the Legion of Superheroes, and initially only Ultra Boy can see her, which makes the Legionnaires think he's crazy. An encounter with Deadman fixes that for them, and then afterwards, after that encounter with Deadman, boom, they get their girl back. And because the Legion gets rebooted so often, we never find out what happened to her third body.
I know. And I also like the later Legion where Phantom Girl can like be on both planets at the same time, and so she can have a conversation. Yes, and they have the conversation with one person on one planet and a conversation with another person in the other dimension, and look crazy doing it.
Yeah, but that was like really sad, right? Because like that one dude like breaks up with her in one world.
Yeah.
While she's like trying to be a hero in another. And then last but not least, to get really weird, I don't have all of these. These are two I actually bought off the shelf, so I need to hunt them down. But this is the Lightning Saga from Justice League and Justice Society of America.
Yeah, I did a video on this one. This is a great series, a great storyline.
It is. So here we are on a we're actually, I think this is Thanagar that they're on, and this is where they find Dawnstar. She's just chilling there.
Yeah.
Of course, we have our JSA Legion member here. We've got Karate Kid, and then in Society America, and these are 1 in 10s, I believe, right? And then for Justice Society number 6, and this is back in 2007. So here we get this beautiful cover. The only Legionnaire repping is Wildfire.
Yep.
And of course, they find Wildfire suspended in Superman's fortress. Superman goes to that room with the Legion statues, and he notices there's 2 Wildfires. Or actually, I think it's Stargirl who notices. All right.
What is Stargirl's not in the Legion though? She just is a star.
No, this is in present day, and she's the Justice Society and Justice League have teamed up in these. Issues.
Okay, I dig you. Thank you.
And I love these because, of course, I gotta hunt them all down because not only do they connect, but they're all done by my very precious Phil Jimenez.
Yes, and I have them all, and I've done but I have alternate covers. Like there are alternate covers for the.
Yeah, I have the Michael Turner ones because like that was easy.
Yes,
by comparison,
the ones are great. Well,
sometime we have to do Supergirl, Matt. I'd like to make a request that we will do Supergirl sometime where it'll be all Supergirl.
Oh, that's coming up. That's probably actually the one I'm thinking of doing next.
Okay.
For the next Superman show. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for joining me tonight. This was a lot of fun. I love the Legion. I know you two love the Legion. And I hope everybody out there who's watching, whether it's live right now or on the rewind, I hope you guys love the Legion too, because I know I've gone on about this before, but the Legion represents something that even other hero teams doesn't. It's hope for the future because they're in the future. You see different races and aliens and everybody getting along. Okay, that the only reason they don't like each other is because of their personalities and nothing to do with what they look like or who they sleep with or whatever the case may be.
There's still
I
political problems.
You know that, but there's always going to be political problems because not everybody is a good person, right? And that's going to continue into the future. But the fact is that there's hope that there's somebody good out there, and that you've got a united Earth, for example. That's not going to happen in our day and age. So there's your politics right there. But I really appreciate Cliff and Steven, you guys taking time to join me tonight to show and discuss my favorite super team.
It was
They
fun,
wouldn't
Cliff.
exist without
It was fun,
Superman.
Cliff.
It was fun.
And Matt, thank you for inviting me to join and geek out with the Legion, because you could see just how hard you had to twist my arm to get me to do the Legion.
I know.
The
So
way
I
you
really-
changed your background so quickly, Steve, I'm out of my mind. I'm like, look, I'm like, wait, where the Legion books are gone again.
the thing is, when you try to keep things in order, then as I'm putting some in, then if it isn't right, then it gets me in the back. I don't know how to describe it. That's just a quirk. I got to get them the right way. And incidentally, Cliff, you must invest in a Legion ring. They're a whopping.
I have many floating around.
Okay, they're like $3 or $4 or whatever they are. But
I got a bag of 50 for a buck back in 2007. And
Wow.
I've been there, done that. I've legioned out I forced people into loving Legion members. I've done it all. I was there for the Legion of Superheroes versus trading card set. I had to explain to people how the Legion worked. Of course, they didn't give them good mechanics. Then the Legionnaires started showing up in hero clicks, and that's when I really started getting people to try and pay attention, because one of the hero clicks that came out was not only Monel, who was amazing, but then the piece that you tried to play for was Monel with the Green Lantern ring.
Yes,
Yeah.
which was in that series that I was talking about.
Adventure Comics series.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, which I had Phil Jimenez do a signing at my shop that year. The year I owned a shop, and that was a whole thing. But it was really lovely. So I have all these beautiful memories. Bring back Gravity Kid and Power Boy
And Excess. Well, I appreciate everybody tonight. Thank you all for joining us. And if you're watching on the rewind, I hope you enjoy. Like and comment and subscribe. Thank you very much. My name is Matt. I love comics, especially super comics. And I hope you do too. Good night, everybody. Long live the Legion.